Blessed, wonderful name, the name of Jesus. Blessed, wonderful name, the name of Jesus. Blessed, wonderful name, the name of Jesus. I'm going to go to the book of Genesis today. The brother that got up, I think it was Deacon Washington. Is that the name? He got up, he started stirring up some men stuff. Now ladies, this is the annual men's program, but there is a word for everybody in the house, but I might focus in on the men a little bit. Because whether you know it or not, we still have men in the church. We don't have the number we want, but there are still yet some men in the kingdom. And not any kind of men. I'm not talking about the men that's got a problem with their wrist. I'm not talking about no men. I ain't talking about that kind of men. I'm not fixing to, I ain't finna bash you today. Don't say, oh Lord, if that's you, I'm not fixing to bash you. I'm gonna just preach the word. But I'm talking about the men that, I'm talking about the real men. I'm talking about the ones that still got some bass in their voice. I mean, if you might need to change your octave sometimes, whatever you got to do. But I'm talking about the real men. So we want to look at that because I believe that the enemy has done something with the identity of men. He is trying to confuse our men. And it's very hard to keep somebody on track if they don't know who they are and what they are. If you don't know who you are, what you are, somebody can come and just give you an idea. And so I noticed one of the presidential candidates made a statement that LGBTQ, and I'm like, what is Q? And that's those that are just questioning. They don't know what they are. They're just in a maze. But we're going to talk about real men today. All right, then. It says that show thyself a man. Show thyself a man. Let's go to the book of Genesis quickly. Let me move here to Genesis 3. I'm just going to read two verses, Genesis 3 and 19. And for those that are part of our ministry, you might have heard me work in this area before, but when I heard Deacon Washington, he was going in now. I was listening to him. Okay, he made me change. I said, well, let me change up and go to something else. All right, since he already laid the foundation. Thank you, Deacon Washington. I appreciate you. Genesis 3 and 19 says that in the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread till thou return unto the ground. For out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto the dust shalt thou return. And verse 20 simply reads, and Adam called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. Let me read one more. Unto Adam also and to his wife did the Lord make coats, skins, and clothe them. I'm going to stop there. I want to use for a subject today, a man's work.
All right.
A man's work.
Yeah.
One of the problems that we have in today's society is that we have created a generation of young men that somehow have walked into this sense of entitlement. Talk about it a little bit this morning. They feel like, man, this is not you, I'm not talking to you. But there are some young men with a sense of entitlement. And they operate, they walk around. Superintendent, they feel like they're entitled to something that you have that you must give to them. Some of us parents have ran into this sense of entitlement before. Where they just feel like because they have their license, you ought to just give them your car. Y'all ain't gonna talk to me in here. I just feel like I could just get in the car and just drive. I'm just using that as an example. They feel like because you work on a job every day, then you should just give them money to be able to operate.
That's right.
But I grew up in the time, and some of you others grew up in the time where nobody really gave you anything, but you had to learn how to work your way through. I try to teach my sons this, that you can't even trust the job that you work on, but when you look at the neighborhood, really, there's money everywhere. And it's good to have a job, but I don't want you trapped because of the job, but there's money in the neighborhood. What are you saying? I'm saying that I learned how to push a lawnmower before I could drive a car. You knock on somebody's door and you say, I can cut your grass, and maybe you have to do it at a discount, but you learn how to make money. You learn how to go to the grocery store and sack groceries and just hope they gave you a tip after you took their groceries. You was learning how to work. But we live in a time now where people feel like really, they feel like they're entitled to something that you have. Let me tell you that this entitlement thing that's happening is nothing more than a trick of the enemy. Because, I'm going to start here, work is something that was given to man by God. Work was given to man by God. Work is one of the keys to manhood. It is a first priority to man. Not to pray, not to worship, but to work. It is one of the first things that God gave to man. You see it right here in verse 19. He gives man work. The word work is to become, to manifest, to fulfill, to reveal, to become yourself. Work means to discover and become who you were created to be. To be yourself, to be the true manifestation of what you were created to be. We have been taught that work is something that you do, but your work is not your job. Your job is what you get paid to do. Your work is what you were created to do.
I see that.
Your work is important to God. And that's where the enemy has come in. He has sabotaged and pulled an identity theft on men. And so men are confused, superintendent, about what is their work. What was I created to be? Unfortunately, we have too many men outside of the home, and so the child, both male and female, they grow up not having a father in the home oftentimes, and so they have no even examples or anybody to teach them who you are. So what do? They create it. And you hear young men saying things like, well, I never knew my father, and it don't matter. I never needed him anyway. That's when the enemy is starting to take over, because the Bible said that the father is the glory of the child. Can I teach you a minute? Your job is your skill, but your work is your gift. Your job they can fire you from, but they cannot touch your work.
All right.
Because I was created, everything inside of me, whatever my work is, when I wake up in the morning, I'm thinking about my work. It's like by nature to do it. Now, the Lord has blessed me to have children, and some of my children play, or most of them play or sing. He's blessed me to have that in my family, because I cannot sing in the keys that they sing in. If I started singing like the brother was singing that's sitting in the back, y'all might run out of here if I was singing like that. But God gave me what I needed, and inside of them are the things that they were created to do. And inside of me, God gave me a different gift. Somebody just said he got a different gift. Your work is what you are carrying when you are born into the world. When you were created in your mother's womb to bring forth in the generation that you're in. Whatever work God gave you, he gave it to you to bring forth in the generation that you're in right now. It's the thing inside of you. It's that thing that even though if nobody ever trained you how to do it, it was still operating on the inside. And that's why the enemy is busy trying to cut off man's work. Talking about real men. Now I'm talking about men that stand in front of the family. I'm talking about men that get up and go somewhere in the morning. If you don't have a job, you need to get out the house. You got to be something. Now, if you're retired, I ain't talking about you, but I'm talking about you men that are still in the workforce. You need to get out and do something. Y'all ain't gonna talk about that. You know the men that you saw at the house. These babies don't know, but the men you saw in the neighborhood when you was growing up, you know they wasn't up to no good. If it was work time and they sitting outside underneath a tree playing dominoes, you know they wasn't up to no good. I'm not talking about those men. I'm talking about the men that God created to bring forth and manifest in this generation. The most important thing to man is his work. It is because God decreed it to be a priority. How you define your work. Your work is what you were created to be. It is important that God find your work, because your work is, listen to this now, your work. Your work is your purpose. You were born because of your purpose, not to find it.
Come on. All right.
Let me say that again. You were born because of your purpose, not to find it.
All right.
God created you for the purpose. God gave you birth to fulfill something that God had already planned. You were birthed for something that God had already worked out, had already planned. He created you with your work inside. You were born to start something that God had already finished. You were born to start something that God had already, when you was created in your mother's womb, God already had something. You were born to finish, amen, in the earth realm. You was born to do it. He gave birth to start it. You are not here as an experiment, but you are here as an assignment.
All right. Come on.
You're not an accident. You're not an accident, young man. You're not an accident.
All right.
But you are here as an assignment. You came to the earth with your work trapped on the inside. Your work is established before the foundation of the world. You are living with your work. Every day you wake up. See, we got young men that don't know who they are, but they living with their work. Problem is that they don't understand what's going on the inside. So that's why you have so many young men that when you look at them, they look upset, and you ask them, what's wrong? I don't know. Just mad. Now I grew up in the hip hop age. And it started off where the covers of the albums, brother, everybody was happy, it was a party, but somewhere along the lines, it changed. They took a picture, everybody had to be mad. It looked like they're getting ready to murder somebody. What you mad about? I don't know. Just mad. It's because that work is trapped on the inside of you, and you don't know how to get it out. The problem is your work oftentimes is trapped by your job. And your job can keep you going, but you can't let your job suffocate your work. That's why Monday mornings at work is so hard, is because you're thinking about your work, but you got to go see the man. I ain't telling y'all to come off your job. You don't. The preacher said I need to quit. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. And I'm like, go ahead, y'all pastors calling me saying, preacher at Whitfield's church saying you need to quit your job. That's not what I'm saying. But you cannot let your work suffocate. Can't let your job suffocate your work. I'm moving, y'all. I'm moving. The first priority of man is work. That's why men get so depressed when they out of work. We got millions of African American men out of work, walking around with the spirit of depression. And they give you pills and they give you therapy, but really all you need to do is find a job and get into your work. Because a man feels better. You know, they used to teach me now, there used to be a time when men wore suits. It used to be a time when if you want to fly on a plane, you put on a suit. You know, now I don't want to hit my musicians, they look all right today, but sometimes I wonder sometimes where they going. I wonder sometimes when you see musicians, I saw these men playing and they was dressed nice. It used to be a time when you just dressed nice. Don't you know that a man feels better when he put on a suit? When you put on a suit and have on a sharp tie, you just look good, just something different about you. It could be a $5 suit, but you just feel better. Don't confuse your job with your work, because we are defined by our work. Work is first with man. Even, I'm going to close my eyes and say this, God gave man work before he gave him Eve.
All right. You're right.
Before he gave him Eve, he gave him his work. Because God gave the man work before he gives man the woman. Your worth is in your work, not in woman. See, some of y'all don't feel good unless you got, the right one sitting next to you. And I thank the Lord my wife is not here. I thank God for my wife. My son's not going to go get me in trouble. But before God gave me my wife, he gave me work. He gave me my purpose. He gave me my purpose. When man finds his work, he comes alive. When man finds his work, he feels valuable. He feels like he has God's approval. His fulfillment is in his work. The man was given work before he was given woman. And you should know the vision for your life, the purpose of your life was given before you were given the woman. You married a woman. Eve met Adam in God's presence. And guess what Adam was doing when Eve met him? Working. That's a little station break. Now listen, if you're looking to get married, for the ladies we have in here, you need to make sure you find a man that's already found his work.